For today's video, we will talk about the principles of high quality assessment, in which it has 12 principles. So the first principle is clarity of learning targets. Clarity of learning targets, it means that the assessment must be measurable or time-bounded, in which learning outcomes or objectives must be clearly stated in order to understand and achieve necessary learning. Next is appropriate assessment methods, in which appropriate assessment methods talks about in assessing the students there must be an appropriate method to be used. At the same time, the learning targets should be aligned or matched with assessment methods. And then the third one is balanced assessment, in which balanced assessment, it is an assessment which set target in all domain, including also having an equal distribution in terms of number of items and a specific assessment. When we talk about domain, it is the cognitive, affective, or even the psychomotor domain. Then the fourth assessment is valid assessment, in which it is an assessment that must be matched in the learning objectives to assess measure what intends to measure. As a teacher, we should properly design our lesson in order to really measure what we wanted to do or what we intend to measure from our students. And at the same time, in making activities, it should be aligned with the objectives. Then the fifth one is reliable assessment. So when we talk about reliable assessment, in order to assess the students effectively, the result should yield consistently. In which the sixth one is fair assessment. So fair assessment, the assessment must be applicable to everybody in terms of students having equal opportunity to learn and succeed. The next principle is practical and efficient assessment. So when we talk about practical and efficient assessment, in assessing learning, there must be a time-bounded. So I have example picture here, and in which the specific assessment should be obtained having the resources and time worthily maximized. 8 is authentic assessment. So when we talk about authentic assessment, it is an assessment which focuses. And I had example picture here. Focuses on a performance which learning are applied based or connected in real world problems or context. The ninth principle is continuous developmental and standards-based assessment. So in the picture, it shows here that there is a developmental process happen between the teacher and the students, in which it is an assessment which continuously assesses the learner's development, which tends to understand how to improve the person by the use of planned instructions. Next is transparent assessment or clear communication. So there is interaction between teacher and the students. So it is in the assessment process, there must be a healthy relation in terms of teacher-students interaction. It means that a teacher must give feedback toward its students, whether positive or negative feedback, in order to determine effectiveness of the teaching learning process. Then the 11th principles of high quality assessment is positive assessment. So when we talk about positive assessment, it means that it is an assessment like what the picture shows. It is an assessment which not just improve the students individually, but it also to motivate them for being a better learners. Lastly, ethical assessment. So ethical assessment, then I have example picture here. So when we talk about ethical assessment, it is an assessment which the students or the teacher itself has the rules, regulations, or laws that will help to regulate its behavior upon interacting or socializing towards its students. So basically, these are the summary of the principles of high quality assessment. First is clarity of learning targets, second is appropriate assessment methods, balanced assessment, then valid assessment, then reliable assessment, and fair assessment. Next is practical and efficient assessment, authentic assessment, continuous developmental and knowledge-based assessment, transparent assessment or clear communication, positive assessment, and lastly as the ethical assessment.